So what we got for you here today is a new microphone review on the Raisins. Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Chris, the mic guy, and in today's video here, we just got through a big thing with Amazon Prime Day last week, and now we're here to reap the rewards of those amazing sales that were going on over the past couple of days. So what we have for you today is a new microphone review on the Razer Seiren X. This is a USB condenser microphone Razer has out there. They list right on here, condenser streaming microphone. So we're gonna hook this up today, give it a couple of audio tests, see how it sounds. But before we do that, let's take a look at the microphone itself, see what it's got on it, see what its design looks like, and figure out what we're gonna do with it. First thing first, you are going to end up with the microphone itself. Pretty standard casing, pretty standard shape. This is your typical like BM800 or 700 style or something like that. Nothing real fancy about the design on the case. It is plastic. It doesn't feel like it's going to get crushed. It doesn't feel soft. But, you know, for the price range it was at, I was kind of wishing it was something a little, a little sturdier or anything like that. It does feel cheap. It honestly feels lightest out of most of the microphones I've reviewed. So I'm a little not concerned, but just disheartened by that. I'll get weight numbers here in just a little bit, but we do have that little Razer logo on the back side of it. On the front side, you do have a gain control, a mute button. On the bottom, you have your thread mount, your USB port, and your live monitoring option for headphones. You do get a small, this is actually an adapter that affixes to the stand. So that will thread in at like a standard 5/8 inch threading, and then you'll actually have your stand that screws onto that adapter. I don't know why Razer decided to come up with this design, because that stand threading is unique to this microphone. It can't be used for anything else that at least I've found so far. It doesn't match any of my other microphones. It doesn't match any adapters that I have. So if you lose this middle piece between the microphone and the stand, your stand pretty much becomes worthless, and you have to get like an external mount. Now the microphone itself can mount onto boom arms or shock mounts or other things like that. As you'll see, I'll have it mounted to a stand later on. What I do like about the design for Razer though is for those of you that are going to mount this on the desk, the stand is very sturdy. It's got some weight to it. Again, I'll get you actual numbers here in a little bit, and it's flexible. You can actually rotate the microphone on the stand. So if you have it in like a unique position somewhere and you want to kind of give it a little edge or turn it a little something like that, I'm not quite sure why you'd angle it down, but it just gives you that flexibility to be able to do that. I wish it had a little bit more play in it, maybe almost have the option to go 45, because I think the stand's heavy enough to hold that mic, but I think it's good for what they were trying to accomplish there by just having the ability to rotate and flex. As for your weights, the microphone did come in at 159 grams, so definitely not super heavy, not very much weight to it at all. The stand itself actually came in at 230, so you're looking at like 1.5 times the weight of the microphone for the stand there, which is interesting and unique, but I credit them for at least having a heavy stand that will keep this microphone from tipping over if it's on your desk, but I kind of just felt that this was a little undaunting, or just didn't feel. One bad thing for me is if it feels light, I think cheap, and I hope that when we hook this up and do audio tests, that doesn't turn out to be the case. So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna hook this guy up now and see what it sounds like. Let's go figure that out. So we are now on the Razer Seiren X here, and I can tell you right out the gate, one thing that I don't like is the design of the way the USB cable hooks up into the microphone. The downside, I actually had to take off my locking collar for the microphone. Luckily, I had enough threads to hold it so it doesn't move, but the locking collar went right over top of where you would mount the microphone. So that's one thing to consider when you're looking at getting this onto anything other than the provided Razer stand. So if you're trying to put this on a boom arm or something, just be aware that that USB port is placed right on the front of the microphone. So it's going to, possibly get in the way of any tightening threads or anything that you have. I know my Rode PSA has a very, very large locking collar, etc. So just be aware of that. Be ready. Be careful when you're setting that up. This does claim to have a super cardioid polar pattern, so it should reject tons of noise on the backside. I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to snap on the back side of the microphone here. It is very, very loud snap. I mean, I wish you could hear it in my shotgun mic here, but this is just an opportunity for me to show the amount of rejection that this is doing compared to what I'm actually doing on the front side of the microphone here. In terms of setup, literally plug it in, tell OBS to capture the microphone. You're good to go. There was no software needed, no nothing in Windows 10. I'm sure Windows 7, Mac OS X, any of those other operating systems would pretty much all be the same. Level control is all done inside of Windows or inside of OBS. This knob that was on front of the microphone, I'm turning it all the way to the left. It does not seem to affect the gain. So my assumption is that that is going to be for monitoring only for your headphones or things like that. As you're listening to your own voice, it probably adjusts that on the fly, probably adjust your PC volume, things like that. Again, we do have this front mute button, so I'm going to be tapping that here for a couple of seconds, show you if that mute actually makes a click noise into the microphone when it's disabling it. If you actually end up with any kind of inherent noise. Again, I'm just turning it on and off here as I'm talking through these sentences. And to see how it functions or interrupts the sound. There are some that do a really smooth, clean cut where it's almost software enabled and it just turns the microphone down. There are others that are a hard cut. There are others that you can almost hear like a capacitor or something going bah and shutting off, and it gives you that pump pop noise. So again, no monitors, not listening to what it's doing. We'll check it in post and I'll give some comments and feedbacks at the end. In terms of sound range, this does claim to go from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, which is typical for a cardioid microphone. It's nothing fancy. That's pretty much your range that a lot of manufacturers claim. What you're going to hear is going to be totally different than what you actually can pick up in the microphone, though, because typically you're not anything below, anything below 60, 40 is really just noise. It's not audible. It's just vibrations and things. So that's like my refrigerator kicking on or other things like that that are going to impact or interrupt your audio sound while you're recording. In terms of total weight, we did give you the measurements early on in the beginning there, but Razer does claim it is 383 grams total for the setup, which is about in line of what we were looking at. I think we said 120 and 250 or 150 and 230 or something along that line. I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head. But again, right in line. I trust Razer to at least provide good technical information for their product there. One thing that I do want to do in this test, though, is a kind of a shock absorption. This microphone does not come with any shock absorber. So with that, with this USB in the position that it's in, with the dial knob, it's going to be hard to get a specific style of shock mount on this microphone and see how that reacts. So you're going to have to be aware that whatever you do with this microphone and how you interact with it, if it's on your desk, that stand does have a nice big pad on the bottom of it. It's a nice cushion for you to hold, for you to set this on. I don't think you'll get a ton of vibration from regular mouse movement and clicking of keys, but if you bang your desk, anything like that, this is definitely probably going to get picked up if I were to guess. Outside of that, I don't think there's very much left to say specifically about the microphone. It seems to be the plain Jane entry-level device from Razer to get you in the door as a streamer or as a content creator. Branding aside, I want to listen to this in post, see how these recordings came out, and let you guys know my thoughts. So let's go take care of that. I'll be right back. So ultimately, what do I think of the Seiren provided by Razer here? I really think that it could be a great, again, budget entry-level microphone. Right now, as of the recording of this video, Razer had it on their website for $99.99. And I think that's a little steep for what you're getting. It's a simple microphone. There's nothing fancy about it. I think you have much better features with the Yeti Nano, with the Rode NT Mini USB, with a Wave 1 from Elgato. There's plenty of other options right out there in that same price range. If you could find it for around $50 though, I think you could end up with a decent deal. Something that gets you in the door, gets you off of your laptop mic, gets you off of a headset mic, that allows you to be able to work with it and be able to have something that just boosts your audio quality a little bit. My overall thoughts, I did think that the noise rejection was very subpar. I felt like there was none at all. When I was snapping behind the microphone, almost nothing was blocked, so I could assume that if somebody has this next to their keyboard while they're trying to play games or talk in Discord or something, it's just going to pick up everything. So be very wary of that. With placement, this is going to be very, very important. With the mute functions, I did think that worked really well. I thought the mute functions were good. The way that it cut off didn't seem like it had a lot of impact, didn't seem like it had a lot of effect or negative values to the audio quality. It seemed to cut off pretty simply. There was a slight hint, like you could barely hear the click when it was going out, but overall that was pretty good. The one feature that I do like, which is kind of simple, and I'm looking around on the ground for it right now, is the cable that comes with it. Honestly, I think Razer does an excellent job with their cabling. The braided cable that they got for this thing is absolutely phenomenal. Like, if I ditch this microphone, I will keep the cable because I think it's probably one of the best USB cables that I have right now. I mean, it's just a really, really well designed. I love that 45 or 90 degree angle on the end of the micro USB there. It's a really, really nice setup. I think that's going to be a great cable to keep for anything else or different microphone reviews that I do. So with that, guys, I hope this review helped you. I hope you guys understand what you're expecting to get with the Razer Seiren X. If you guys have any questions, please drop them down in the comments of the video. And always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope to see you guys next time.